Well, welcome. We're here with Ruchi and Aditya or Adi, and we're just going to have a little chat here about where his experience is like so far in online group tutoring under the right method. And so I want to thank you guys for being a part of this discussion and really being willing to take the time here. This is actually during our office hour. And so I wanted to just talk with you about your experience and really what it was like that at that beginning before we actually connected and talk to us about what um Adi, maybe what you were looking for. Maybe you weren't really looking for tutoring, but maybe you felt like some part of your writing needed help. And then Ruchi, if you can kind of explain what caught your attention with the tutoring and how that came across online.
So hello,
And
yeah.
you can introduce yourself. Yeah, you can introduce yourself, by the way. You can say, I'm a ninth grade, I'm a 10th grader, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so I am a 10th grader. My name is Adi or Aditya, and originally I was looking to improve my analysis. When after a quote, usually we would have to analyze something, and I always struggled with that. So I'm glad that we're going to be able to work on that in the next phase of our writing course. And originally, I was also just looking for places to get extra practice with writing from teachers who looked like they knew what they were doing. And I'm glad I found this.
Great.
Yeah,
Okay, and this.
hi. My name is Ruchi and I'm Aditya's mom. So I think the main struggle we had, and I would say the main kind of frustrating point was um, Adi had a lot of thoughts, but it was hard to put them on a paper, right? Or like it's like
Yeah.
run on sentences. So the thoughts were not able to be compiled together. And yeah, I was not really in the beginning looking for tutoring services. It was more like a coach I was looking for or a mentoring. But I have to say, means how I found the right method was actually through a Facebook group, and
Hmm.
I just happened to be on, I don't know which, I am on many random Facebook groups.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to remember.
Yeah. So, but I saw consistently Mr. Shah's comments to when parents were asking questions
Hmm.
about like my kids are struggling. So I started following, and then I felt like this person knows what he's talking about. So let me reach out to them. And then I think when initially I reached out to you, and it seemed like it is more, it's not like just like, okay, give me an essay and I will tell you how to fix it. It seemed more like research based kind of tutoring or mentoring, I would say more. So even though it is
Yes.
called tutoring, I consider it as mentoring because it's not like this is the assignment and I will show you how to fix it. It's more like exploratory. So, and that's
Yeah.
what I found, and I really thought of sticking with the right method.
Well, thank you so much. That's very encouraging. And I'm glad you said the word mentoring because we're using a book called Write Like This. And Write Like This basically is basically if you're a basketball coach, you're standing next to the student and you're actually making shots yourself as the coach. And you're asking the student to look at how you're delivering that basket. And I think students really learn that way through mentoring. And and so, yes, in fact, I came up with the word for it because there's the other family that joined, the third family. The father said this is not like tutoring; it's more like mentoring. Yeah. So what we have is actually mentor shops, which is a new word, which I created. Mentor shop instead of a workshop, mentor shop instead of mentorship. Um, so Adi, I'm also want to ask you how how did that affect you? How did you feel as a student knowing that it's one thing to for a teacher at school to say, hey, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. But when you know what you need to work on, and that's kind of like in your mind all the times, how did that affect you? Did it affect other areas?
So yeah, so this helps because it's like a non-graded, less pressurized writing, but it still
Hmm.
feels like you're doing an assignment for school. So it
Yeah.
keeps the same environment, but it's a lot less worrying about, oh, am I doing what my teacher wants? It's more like trying to express yourself and seeing
Mm.
uh and just like exploring new techniques. And I do feel like when I go into school, I feel my thoughts are more organized. So I would say this is so far helping really a lot.
Yeah, thank you. And you mentioned organized. Um, you know, that is one of our pillars, right? So Kelly Gallagher has said that there are only two reasons why students don't write. Number one, they don't know what to write about. And then, but that wasn't really your problem. And I've noticed that in your writing that you are really a very thoughtful young man. You have a lot to say. I love your humor, by the way. You got a gift. You just flowed with that second writing assignment with the dear newly minted. But also the so students don't write because they don't know what to write about or they don't know how to write it, the technique. And that's what you were saying before, Mrs. Jane, was he had a lot of thoughts, but how do you express those freely and also at a high level, right? Um, for that. And so we teach ideas, writing techniques, and you mentioned the third pillar, which is organization. And um, I think the students feel relaxed, they feel safe, they have a good routine. So they're organized there in terms of coming to the sessions, but also the writing process itself you found to be organized because there are um, steps in the writing process, and we're embracing that step. We're not reinventing the wheel, and we're giving you extra time to really express yourself. Like you said, not putting the pressure of getting this done, so that way you can develop your voice, you can develop those ideas, and then later we can go ahead and revise it. Um,
Yeah, I would
have there been?
oh,
Yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
I'll just add like means I don't remember what it is called, like circle maps or circle idea or what do you
Yeah,
use?
yeah,
What is
circle maps, flow
circle maps?
maps.
I think yeah, means I think that's means I have not looked into too much detail, but that definitely helps the organization of ideas. Like I think
Yes.
that organization that is a tool for organization. So the tools
Yeah.
you are providing are definitely
Yes.
helpful.
Yeah, and also time. And Adi, talk to us a little bit. I'll come back to the idea of the online group tutoring, how the students interact with one another and how they help one another actually, and how that really catapults learning. But have there been any other wins? Have you noticed any emotional wins, any positive effects that other family members have noticed, or in the way that he goes through his day? Have there been any small changes there that kind of were interesting to you?
I would,
Um,
oh, sorry. No, no, you go ahead.
so now there's like a dedicated time period every like 3 times a week, just dedicated for me to write and focus on my writing. So it's definitely like now, usually I would always think to myself, oh, you should try and just practice writing to perhaps like get better since practice will make any skill better. So now
Yeah,
like the dedicated time period, yeah, it's like definitely a positive.
very good.
I
All
was just
right.
adding that in our one day, like dinner time, like he was just making a joke in the house, and he literally, I think, used a metaphor for something. And we are not native English speakers, so like at home we do speak English sometimes, sometimes Hindi, but it was just so funny when he used that metaphor, and I was like, oh, looks like Mr. Shah's lessons. Like I literally said that looks like those sessions are making an impact. You're using metaphors in regular language, like regular
Yeah.
conversation at home. So I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly what was that, but I do remember me making a comment to his dad that, oh, looks like something is working, that
Well,
he is,
that's great. That means a lot, because that just comes out naturally.
yeah.
And that's very encouraging to me that to see the students really taking advantage of that. Um, you mentioned some specific strategies that we've been using, thinking maps. Um, I want to come back to something, Adi. You in developing those ideas, there were two things that we've done. We've allowed enough time because they received the assignment at the beginning, and then they know in 4 weeks it's going to be due here. But in between, we're actually helping them. They know exactly what the end result is when they begin. And so that's the cycle that you were referring to, 4 weeks. And then the next phase, which would be analytical writing, and we're building gradually. And so um, let's shift gears a little bit. I picked this up in what you were saying, ideas, but also, Adi, you've been interacting with some of the other students, one in particular, especially because it was just two of you in the first 4 weeks, and then we picked up a third student. And so what was that like, having that breakout session and receiving feedback and also giving feedback? What has that done for you as a writer?
Mhm. So with my like partner, um, so it made it a more fun environment for me because being a solo would probably like allow more focus and attention on you, but it also creates like an environment where you feel pressured to be the only one and be like the best. But being in a
Right.
group helped me like sort of we could count on each other and work off of each other. And then if he asked a question which I wanted or like didn't think of, it would most likely help.
Yes.
So it was just more ideas, which helps a lot.
Yeah. And he really learned a lot from you as well. I could see that, because I tutored him one-on-one for a while, for several weeks in the summer. But it was totally different when you came on board and you two were together. And now that there's three of you, and there could be possibly be more. But do you feel like you've gotten personalized feedback throughout the sessions, even though it's not just yourself?
Oh yeah. Even though there's two of us, you still done a great job, like still sort of soloing us, so we still get the right amount of attention. So I definitely
Yeah.
feel uh it doesn't feel like I'm alone because I definitely have another person, but at the same
Yeah.
time it sort of does feel like I am getting the
Yeah.
attention.
That's awesome. Yeah. Okay, great. So there's that feedback. And then how has it worked for you in terms of the style of the mentor shop, if you will? Basically, I will model the piece of writing, I'll give you a mentor text, then I'll write my own, and then I'll go through the think aloud to express what I might be thinking as a writer. And then you guys are doing the same thing. And then finally, you're getting feedback within those sessions as you're trying this new skill, um, to from others and myself. How has that helped you to develop your skill as a writer, as a thinker?
Yeah, so just the amount of different places to like pick up something you missed. Like there's first the original model, then there's your model. So all of that that definitely like gives me enough information every single time. So with the newly minted writing we did, I understood most of it from the original model with the basketball players, and then your model about the lottery winners definitely like filled in the knowledge and how I should be thinking. But sometimes, like after the original model, I get excited to try and start. So that's a
Okay, okay,
side on
got
my.
it. You get inspired by that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you can use that actually to your advantage when you're reading things. You could read even a billboard or even something, I don't know if you use social media, but if you might see a meme or see a headline somewhere, then you can basically jot that down in your idea journal and you could get inspired by that. So, well, we'll say more about that. Um, anything else you want to add before we kind of shift to our last kind of part of our chit chat?
I feel like I've already said like I feel like I have a timed weekly 3 times a week like a timed session for writing, but the also like the 4 week like 4 weeks to finish an essay, it gives more to the environment of like a school while still being a home environment, because in school I usually only have timed assignments. So it is a really long time period, which helps a lot. But it also
Yeah.
brings environment like, oh, you still have to do this. You can't just slack off.
Yes. Right. 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 Yeah. You've done a good job of keeping up as well. Um, okay. So for mom or even for you, Adi, any order doesn't matter. What would you say to other parents considering whether or not they want to work with an online tutor, whether or not it's one-on-one tutoring in their local area? Um, maybe your thoughts about this kind of format before joining this format, and then now that you're part of this format, what do you now realize has been a benefit to you?
Yep.
Because
So
there are other parents and other students kind of wondering, like, well, can this really benefit me? What is it going to be like? Right?
mhm, yeah. So I would definitely recommend this write how to write workshop, because it definitely helps. I can see like my progress in English class in school. For example, like we did a passage analysis a few days ago, and like the in my like head I could see the ideas and organization forming, and that definitely stems from here. Like I could easily pick out the quotes. I could organize, oh, what comes before this quote, after this quote, and a paragraph was just nicely formed. So I would definitely give credit to that, those thoughts naturally appearing to you and your program from your flow
Right.
maps. They definitely helped. And I always envision them when I'm trying to write a new piece. Hopefully I'll get better at it. And
Yeah.
I would although say it is like you do have to show up and try your best every time. So some might feel it's a time commitment, but I definitely think it's a good time commitment and it definitely helps.
Sounds like an investment,
Yeah, and
and
invest.
you've really seen that investment grow.
Mhm.
And thank you. And Miss Rucci, from your perspective as a parent, not knowing what this was going to be like, and what might other parents be feeling, what could you say to them?
Yeah, I would say like means online definitely sometimes could be intimidating for many parents, right? Because
Mhm.
means COVID was different, but now it's a different world and everybody wants one-on-one in person. But
Mhm.
um, this is for high schoolers, so it's not like kindergartners. So I think so one is like I personally feel for English mainly like this online versus in person wouldn't have been any different in this case, because you are really going line by line sharing screen like so
Yeah,
I think like basically technology wise, I feel this online versus in person wouldn't have changed much for at least our case. So I would say nobody should be scared of being online, like or like worried that it is an online course, because these kids are also older. So I think they can focus and they
yeah,
probably want to do it. Like you cannot force a high schooler to sit through a tutoring session. The other thing is I definitely think that this is like the your way of teaching is kind of like more research based, right? It's
yeah.
like you run a scientific experiment, so it's very
Yes,
personalized also, or
yes.
like personalized medicine, so it's like personalized tutoring, even though it's
It's
in a
art and science. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
so I would say I would highly recommend like coming into this. I definitely put in some thought. Like as I mentioned, I saw some of your comments on Facebook, and I was like, okay, this person. I think I knew from some comments that you are a high school teacher, but I thought that
yeah,
from your comments, okay, this person is not just saying like random things. And then
Yeah.
we had this I don't know, the pre-success session, something I forgot,
Oh,
before
right. This.
on.
Right.
So that gave me an idea that this is a little bit more than just tutoring, because it's not like I have this English homework, how do I do it? I wouldn't want
Right.
that. Yeah, it is more like really growing your child as a writer. And I
Well, yeah,
initially, yeah, I
go
initially
ahead.
was worried that 12 weeks, is it really gonna change anything for a student or for a child? But I'm actually amazed to hear these comments, because I actually have not been like taking feedback from him regularly, because I'm like, it's been just 4 to 5 weeks. I just heard his comments now when he was saying that in his English class. So this is like
Wow.
first time for me also to hear, so which is great, right? If you're hearing, so I would highly recommend. I think we are happy, and that's why we are continuing. And at the end of the day, we want this investment to grow, right? Writing is something
Yes.
very important in all subjects.
It's a
Be it
lifelong skill.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lifelong skill. And well, I'm happy for you. I really am encouraged by that, just as a person, as a parent, and knowing that your son, and Adi, I think you gave me a lot of credit, but I think I give you a lot of credit too, because it was your attention to this, and your interest level has been growing, and your commitment has always been there from the start. So I think your mother has taught you a lot about sticking with something, and her support, I think, because she supports you, and she doesn't micromanage you and push you like that, and you feel like you're getting something out of it. You're putting in that investment. And so you mentioned, I think we're going to try to finish up here, but you did mention the 12-week commitment, and that might be another concern that parents may have, because parents don't know me, right? And then all of a sudden they come to this idea, which is a 12-week commitment. And but we had that session, and how did that session make you feel better and safe, that you know there was a guarantee in there that we were gonna establish some goals, that we knew what those goals were before we started the tutoring, even before you said yes. And then finally, you saw the whole picture, that yes, it's a 12-week commitment, but that actually holds me accountable as the teacher, that this is the goal. And if we don't meet that goal in 12 weeks, we keep working for free. So did that kind of help you get through that that shift?
Yeah, means I would be honest, like I think for the first session before saying yes, means I definitely was kind of impressed, because it seemed like it's an organized, and it's a research based teaching
Yeah.
kind of, and
Yes.
it's personalized. It's not like you are just asking them to write on soccer, like something, one topic. You're giving them like freedom to think about what they write. And the other thing was pre-assessment, which you mentioned. So it seemed like yes, it would be catered to where the child comes from. Uh,
Hmm.
but I have to be honest, like saying yes, we did go into that. Oh, maybe the money would be wasted, and it probably might means I did put in. So I would say it was 80-20. Like yes, I want to do it. It was
Yes.
not like I don't want to. That's why I committed. But still, in the
Mm.
beginning, it was like we have to see how the weeks goes. um
Yeah, of
and
course.
yeah, means I think the it has been good, right? I mean we had
Yeah.
that mindset that it if nothing, he would learn something, right? Because it's still, he would have time to write and think about, and maybe it will turn out to be a wrong investment. So I have to be honest, like but the first session definitely gave me a boost that I should try it out. There is
Yeah.
no guarantee from anything, right? But I at least was confident that this looks like a must try.
Okay. Right.
It looks like must try, but again, things may look good on first face, but they may not turn out same, right?
Only
But
time tells. Yeah.
complete mind
And
test
results,
and results, and
real results.
it's between the teacher and the student, right? Like how their
Yeah.
waves match.
Oh,
But
yes.
but I think I
Connection.
also feel that you like I shared some feedback after we started, and you adapted to those. So I would say we were also in a very constant, like that part I kind of really appreciate. Like like we were in constant touch. Also, it was not like this is a high schooler and I'm teacher. I know what I'm doing. But I
Oh,
shared
yeah.
some feedback, and you adapted the things accordingly. And
Yeah.
so you're
Definitely like to listen,
yeah.
right, to what your needs are, because I think that was what it's all about. It's like that specialist, and you go back the second time, third time, say, can we adjust this? Or maybe this would work better, that sort of thing. I just want to thank you because you have been a leader as a parent because you took that step. You didn't have this sort of interview or chat to refer to. You just had my Facebook post, maybe my image and some language up there, some ad. Um, and so I just want to thank you that that journey will hopefully be easier for some other parent who's watching this and maybe thinking those thoughts that that perhaps this might work for their student. And like you said, it has to be a good chemistry between the teacher and the student and the group as well, that it works with multiple students. And so is there anything you want to add before we say goodbye?
Um, no, I would say if anyone wants to try, if their child is motivated, I mean that is the one and the most important piece, then I can I can sort of vouch for you that you would adapt to that child. So you would kind of
Yeah, I definitely would.
give, yeah. So the child has to be motivated. Like if the child is forced into it, I don't know how it goes, but if the child is motivated, if the child wants to really grow, then I have a feeling that you are quite adaptable. Your strategy is quite adaptable. It is research based. It will work for them. It may work different for different children. Like means
Yeah.
for some it may go here, some here, but it will definitely show an improvement. So they should definitely try.
And one last point too, and then Adi, I'll give you a chance to say any final words. You don't have to, but I think even that first session, that first strategy session, before you know what the options are, and you're just kind of saying, "What's this guy all about? What does he do?" Um, there was a connection there, right? So that connection is important because the student is involved,
Yeah.
and we get to see whether or not they're motivated. And sometimes in some of those sessions, the students become motivated because they like the connection. There's something with me that they connect with, or maybe they like my sense of humor. Sometimes that comes out. Um, so, all right, Adi, any final parting shots, or you can just say thanks for the opportunity.
Not thanks for the opportunity.
Well, thank you so much for um, doing this for other students, and being so willing to share. And I think because of that, you are going to grow, and I've seen you grow so much. Your confidence has really come across, and even though it's been a gradual increase in that confidence, I could still see it.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, both of you, and I will see you guys. Let me stop recording here.